Hello, everyone. Welcome back to SuppTalk Radio. I am so excited tonight. We get two for the price of one and also half the calories. My first guest is no stranger to the show, competitive masters athlete, as well as female bodybuilder, Ann Sheehan. Well, Ann, welcome back.
Hey, good to be back. Thank you so much.
And we are joined by another tremendous athlete. She is a competitive powerlifter, Highland Games competitor, and body tempering certified. Allow me to introduce Erica Tiemann. Erica, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So for people that are just watching this, Ann was a previous guest on the show, and I'll go ahead and link her episode in the story below if you want to learn more. But Erica, let's start off with you. Give us a little bit of your history. I've seen you on Instagram. Very impressive. So let's learn a little bit more about you.
Okay, well, so I'm also a master's athlete. I'm 41. Birthday was a few weeks ago. I'm one of Ann's training clients. I've been working with her for 2 years. I was a little bit late in life to discovering strength sports. I started wanting to work on my blood pressure and lose a little bit of weight, get leaner, and just get healthier when I was in my mid-30s. So I started working with a personal trainer. And she really was like, you really are an athlete. And I was like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. When I was young, girls didn't spend much time in the weight room, and we weren't really encouraged to lift. So lifting weights was new to me. But I'm also a farm girl, grew up on a farm, so kind of just naturally had to be strong doing a lot of things, and just fell in love with being in the gym and lifting. That led me to eventually doing about a 1.5-year stint in CrossFit. And I got to the point in CrossFit where I was having to use the men's weights for the workouts. So I was like, this is probably not my sport if as a woman I'm having to use the men's prescribed weights. And my CrossFit coach, Whitney, was like, you really should think about competing. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I had no idea that you could compete for lifting. And I was getting ready to have knee surgery. So I had to have my lateral meniscus removed. My surgeon told me I wouldn't be able to squat probably ever again. And so I proved him wrong. But so I did a push-pull meet, powerlifting meet for my first meet. Because I didn't have to squat, and I was hooked that first meet. Okay. Just how supportive the other athletes were. It was just amazing. So did powerlifting for a few years, and then had been encouraged to try the Highland Games, and I was geared up and ready, and then the pandemic hit, and so no events were happening. So I just continued with powerlifting. In that time, I started working with Ann as my coach. And so we were kind of just working on strength training, and were going to get me ready for a powerlifting meet. But then I started throwing and really enjoyed the Highland Games throwing. So I've been doing that for the past couple of years, and decided with my off season, which in the winter I live in Illinois, you can't really be outside much in the winter. So decided to switch gears and just prep for a powerlifting meet in my off season. So I'm 2 weeks out from my first powerlifting meet in a little over 2 years right now.
So powerlifting, is that going to be everything, bench, squat, and deadlift, or?
Yeah, I'm doing a full power meet. It'll be my first, doing classic raw. So it'll be my first meet in knee wraps. I've always done just raw before.
Wow. So, Ann, how do you feel about this? You must be excited.
I'm super pumped. I'm really excited for her. So Erica and we both do body tempering, and we met a few years ago at a seminar, a different seminar that we were both at, and so I guess we started following each other, and I started getting into body tempering around 2018, and when I started to, as I was starting to follow other people that were doing it, that was the other way that I happened upon Erica. So I was following her to learn about to learn more about body tempering. So they came out with a body tempering massage table.
And what is body tempering for someone that's never heard of it or seen it before?
The definition itself, Erica might be better versed at. So it's compression.
Okay.
So if you can imagine a foam roller that weighs somewhere between 35 to 200 pounds, right, Erica?
Yep.
Yeah. So and I mean you can roll on it, but the better use of it would be to have it roll on you. So then the practitioner will use this implement to roll over your tissues.
Okay.
And then what that does is it does a lot of different things, but its primary use is strengthening. It also gets rid of inflammation, improves mobility. I'm sure Erica can elaborate because she actually teaches the course.
Okay.
So she's light years ahead of me. But what happened was we both ordered the same tool. I got hers in the mail. So when we were trying to figure, we were like, she was like, mine's late. It's saying it was delivered, but I haven't gotten it yet. And I was like, mine showed up really fast. Like, this is crazy. Sure enough, I had gotten her table. So then we got her down here shortly after I got the table, and you came down.
Her getting my tool was like the universe is saying we need to get together.
Yes, absolutely. So then she came down and she rolled me out for a show. I don't remember which one. I did 6 in a row. So
Okay.
she came down and tempered me for whatever show I was doing next. And that's where she was like, I think I'm gonna have you coach me. And I was like, just tell me you don't want to be smaller. Right? Just tell me you don't want to be smaller.
But what was the answer though?
So you can answer. I mean, like, how has it gone? First of all, I want you to know that Erica is 6 foot tall.
Okay.
So she's no peanut. I'm 5'2".
So I did a post about this on my Instagram recently, kind of showing comparisons across 4 years of the changes in my body. And when Ann told me I didn't have to get smaller to basically get the look I wanted, which is I just wanted to look like an athlete walking around. I didn't necessarily want to be thin or tiny, because when in farm life, being small and tiny is not an advantage. So I thought she was a little bit crazy at first. Like, I was like, there's no, like, I'm gonna have to lose a ton of weight.
Eventually,
and so
she
the
realized
side-by-side the side-by-side comparison I did, I'm like 20 pounds heavier now than when I started, and I look completely like you would not believe I'm heavier now than I was then, because I've just built so much muscle.
She's actually leaner. She's leaner now than she was when we started, and she's gained 20 pounds.
Wow.
So she's put on a minimum of 20 pounds of muscle.
Do you feel yourself eating more, Erica, or no? Still kind of maintaining? Just obviously more muscle and more activity?
Oh, I'm definitely eating more, because I was in a very restrictive, I was trying to stick between 16 and 1,800 calories a day. And like Ian said, I'm almost 6 foot and I am not a small person. And so I eat a lot, especially.
Oh.
We lost you, Erica.
I'm pretty big about talking. You got me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm pretty big about talking about my weight, that I'm walking around at 300 pounds, because it's very taboo for women to talk about weight. And, like, most people are shocked when they hear how much I weigh. And I'm like, that's muscle is a big part of it, it's just more dense. But most women weigh more than you think usually. And I don't know why it's such a problem to, like, just talk about your weight. Like, being over 200 pounds as a woman is not necessarily a bad thing.
Speaking of weight too, I actually didn't let you weigh yourself for a
No,
long time.
you didn't.
Other than when I first meet someone, I don't give a shit if you step on a scale again.
Yep.
Really, I don't. Unless we need to make weight for a sport, you got to something like that. So I really didn't even. I don't want to weight. First of all, just means that gravity is working. That's
I
it.
love it. I love it. You got to trademark that.
That's it. So get rid of your scale because it just means that the gravity is on Earth and it's working. What's inside is what counts.
Yep.
Right. And not just aesthetically, like what's going on in your organs, what's going on, with your heart, what's going on, how do you feel? Are you sleeping? Are you pooping? Like there's so many, there's a lot, there's a health component because healthy people turn out to be really great athletes.
Yes.
And I was, before I started working with Ann, I had dieted down. I was eating a lot of chicken, really restrictive on calories. And I actually passed out while training because I was anemic.
Okay.
And as a woman, like that, especially if you're premenopausal, like you're still having your menstrual cycle, like iron and red meat can be pretty important for your diet. And so that's definitely one of the things with Ann is just really focusing on being healthy and feeling good, and that really intense focus on recovery, especially as you're an older athlete. Like that recovery, you can't build muscle if you're constantly just tearing yourself down and not doing recovery work. And another thing with Ann is like I pretty much quit drinking because I decided like my commitment to my sports and being an athlete is more important than drinking.
Yeah.
Because it was really harming recovery.
Erica, if I could ask you a personal question, when you started dieting prior to Ann and everything else, was it social norms on yourself? Did somebody say something to you to kind of scar you a little bit, or?
My ex,
Okay.
like men to like women. I have a lot of childhood trauma about weight. When I was nearly 6 foot and 165 pounds in high school, I was told I was fat repeatedly and that I needed to lose weight.
Okay.
And looking back at photos, I was thin. Like I was just
Okay.
a big human. So yeah, there's so much pressure on women to be smaller, to be less, to fit, to take up less space. And like my Facebook profile right now says, my photo says it's got a frame that says take up space. And that's one thing that powerlifting and Highland Games both have really helped me with is like, it's okay to be big and to take up space. You don't need to shrink yourself. And in fact, like both sports, you need to take up space.
Those leverages, building those leverages actually helps you perform better. If you have big hamstrings when you go to squat, you don't have to squat down as low, for example, right? It's true. If your back is big, it's actually easier to bench and squat.
Yep.
And odds are you're probably better at deadlifting too. So the other thing that we did is we had the base, the powerlifting program, and then what I needed to do was switch out some of the exercises for ones that were more like the ones that Erica was going to be doing and the events in her tournaments. So one of the exercises we even threw in there was hopscotch because she has to pivot. She has to pivot and pivot quickly. And jumping is not an option because she's missing a meniscus.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
So sometimes we have to get a little bit creative with the training, but I love that. So I love that. And I actually prefer clients that are multi-sport because training should be cyclical. You should have cycles of training, and you don't want to do anything for too much because then it's not going to be balanced.
Yep.
So the problem that I think people have with that is they don't stay in their season. Like I said before, you don't want to get lean try to get lean and strong in the same season.
I was getting burned out on powerlifting too after 4 or 5 years of just grinding hard at that. And the switch really helped kind of reinvigorate. Like I came back into this powerlifting prep just hungry and excited. And I've really enjoyed this prep because I've been off for a while.
I would agree. And I felt the same way too. Like by the time I was done with bodybuilding, I wanted to feel strong again. I don't mean done. And people will be like, oh, you're done with that. Now you're doing this. It's just a season.
Yes.
Get excited. I'm not going anywhere. But yes, I was excited for that season to end and to get back into my strength training. And then, so long of strength training, and I'm going to be like, I miss my abs. Not just my abs, I miss conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel light again. I want to be able to move a little faster again. Even if it was just that, I still love to pose.
And you're a rarity. We talked about this, Ann, that I think there's more crossover now for bodybuilding and powerlifting, but there's still that divide that you can't play both sides. You can't do one or the other.
And that's bullshit.
I know it is. I think it's open. People are opening their minds more, but I still don't think that there's still enough yet.
Well, if they were smart, then they would realize that in order to be the best at either, you need both.
Yep.
People that try to do bodybuilding without compound exercises are never going to get as muscular as somebody that does.
No, I agree.
It's just not going to happen. Even if you take variations of those three main compound exercises, squat, deadlift, and bench, you're going to need them in order to grow completely.
Well, and you've put a lot of bodybuilding hypertrophy stuff into my powerlifting training.
Yes.
She has me doing posing practice, which I hate.
Yes,
but
I do. I will put, especially if we're not like going heavy.
Mm-hmm.
If we're in we're doing powerlifting, hypertrophy, kind of at the same time. Then there's a very high possibility you're going to see during rest. I will put flex rest in there. So you do your set, and then while you're resting, I want you to flex those muscles.
Keep the blood going.
Yeah. It works. It's horrible, but it works.
So, Erica, how does one train for the Highland Games? Because obviously powerlifting is one thing. You can do that in a room that's got the necessary equipment, but there's no way you can take the stone. Excuse me, my naive, the stone to throw somewhere. It's not like you can just, unless you have that in your backyard somewhere.
You need room.
Yeah. So, and I will give the disclaimer here that I have only done 2 seasons of throwing. So my knowledge is very narrow. I have excelled in the sport for no more knowledge than I have, but that's mainly because of brute strength and I just muscle stuff around. But I purchased all the implements, which they're not cheap because it is steel, and metal is heavy, right? Is expensive. Yep. But I got the hammers and the pitchfork and the sheath bag and all of that. I do fortunately have a very strong community here locally that my group is at the Arnold now because they supply the equipment for the competition at the Arnold. But there's a strong community here locally that practices pretty much every Sunday. And so I'm able to get my hands on the cavers, which are like giant telephone poles that we throw, and implements that I don't have the space, because the most difficult part, as Ann pointed out, is the space. You basically need a football field to practice. And you have to have a field that somebody doesn't mind you tearing up with throwing heavy weights that are going to make divots in the ground. But there's a lot of drills you can do because a lot of it is reinforcing just technique and muscle memory. And so there are a lot of drills that you can do, whether it's practicing spins or the hip and shoulder separation and rotation of a hammer, things like that.
Yeah.
So when you go to the Highland Games, are there females of your stature as well, or are you one of the bigger ladies there?
She is
it is
not.
one of the few times in my life that I
Did you
feel
feel small?
small.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
some of them, you'll see her lined up, and it's like head, and here's Erica.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean just smaller in like in physical size as well, not just
Okay.
height. So it's it's kind of like a land of giants,
it
because
is.
to throw, it's all about the leverages. So the longer your arms and legs are, the the more likely you are to be able to throw something further. Now you have to put muscle with that too, but those long limbs tend to come on tall people. So yeah, it's pretty. Most of the women are at or above 6 feet. The
Wow.
men are well over 6 feet.
The tournaments are very long. Have you ever been
hmm
to one, Sean?
I have many years ago. Yeah. This
Um,
is more of like, it was the Highland Games, but it was more of like a Scottish festival where a lot of the
yes,
events were there. The men in the
yes.
Mhm.
kilts and representing. So, yes,
Erica wears kilt. All participants wear kilts.
Yep.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an ancient.
there's 9 events, and there's 3 attempts, a minimum of 3 attempts at each event, except the height events you get 3 attempts at each height, and so it's a long, grueling day. Like I am, eh, it's way more grueling on my body than a powerlifting meet is.
Sure.
Um, Plus, you're baking in the sun on a field.
Yeah.
Is there
So
one
you have
event?
to
Go ahead, Ann. I'm
you have
sorry.
to pick up your whole camp and take it with you everywhere you go around the fields. It's pretty intense.
Is it one event that you like or excel at than the other, or that maybe you enjoy the most?
Hammers.
Okay.
Scottish hammer. So an Olympic hammer is on a wire. A Scottish hammer is on a stick, kind of like a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And you don't move your feet. Your feet are locked into the ground. It's probably my favorite just because I'm natural. I just picked it up very quickly and I'm naturally good at it.
Okay.
There's a few that are my arch nemesis, like weights for distance, because anything that involves moving your feet and throwing, like it's it's just
Like
so much
dancing.
more.
It's
Yeah,
disorienting.
it's so technical. Like and my brain struggles to get like your arms are doing something different than your feet, and in powerlifting you're very slow and controlled and you're in one place.
Yeah.
um, Letting weight out of your hands is never a good idea, so it's like I had to overcome a lot of that. But yeah, hammers is definitely my favorite. I'm starting to enjoy caber a lot more, which is the big telephone pole that you throw end over end, because I'm starting to figure it out.
How many events have you done? How many tournaments, I guess, have you done?
My first season I did 4, and then last year I think I did 5 total. So I'll probably do about the same. In the season for me, I start in late April and it goes through about the end of October. So
Okay.
those events are spread across there.
Are you seeing an increase? I know it's still obviously new, it sounds like, but are you seeing an increase in female competitors, or is it kind of level, or
Yeah, I think they're actually the fastest growing demographic in the
really?
sport as far as like increased participation.
Okay.
Um,
Same in
so
powerlifting.
yeah, so there's more and more women that are taking the sport up, and it helps too. Like we do exhibitions too. My local club does. So like we went to here in Illinois, we went to a Peoria Irish festival, and it was the on Saturday it was exhibition only, and Sunday it was a competition. So on the exhibition day, we're just out there kind of messing around, and anybody who's in the crowd that wants to come sign a waiver and try the events can do that. And so we've picked up quite a few new athletes through that, that have become, they're diehards now, and they're going to all the events they can. I've drug a couple of my friends along. A lot of people who threw who threw a track and field in high school find their way to Highland Games. My high school was too small for that,
Okay.
so the first time I ever threw was on the field 2 summers ago. I had 38 people in my graduating class, so we just didn't have enough people to do all the different sports.
Wow.
My gosh. And
That's
then
ins-
you just did a competition yourself recently.
yes. I made my way
Let's brag.
back to the platform after the stage, which was my goal, like just to kind of get there. So I didn't actually beat even any of my own numbers, but I did the ones that I went to do. So I was happy about that. And then I'm going to do another one in 20 weeks.
Well, share your numbers, even if they weren't what they should be.
Well, but they're not even like, so I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
There's three numbers I care about.
Okay.
And I want a 1,300 total. So I want a 300 bench,
Okay.
500 squat, 500 deadlift. This last meet I did, I was injured on my shoulder, so my bench was only 245.
Okay.
My squat was 424, and my deadlift was 446.
Obviously, you're not happy, but still nothing to sneeze at for anybody listening to this, because you're 5'2", correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I actually weighed in at 175.
Okay. Nice.
And now I'm out of that age category. So because it stopped at 49. So in April I'll be 50. So for Florida, at least in the USPA, I think I pretty much have all the records for like 3 different weight classes. I've done super heavyweight, 98 kilograms, and 82.5 kilograms. So now I'm going to be going into the 50. I don't even know if there are records. I for some of the ones in the other age category, I actually set the records. There was nothing there to beat. So so I don't even know yet what they are for 50. But I compete in the Open and Masters. When I first competed, my very first competition, powerlifting meet, I broke 4 world records.
Wow.
And I was ranked 30 in the world in the Open.
Okay.
Now I think I'm like 130.
Okay.
In 5 years, younger girls mostly got crazy strong. Like
Okay.
they're raw, which means no equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And deadlifting's over 600 pounds.
Crazy.
It just and we have so many women now. The women, the group of women's is the group that have been growing the most, at least in powerlifting that I'm aware of. And there's a lot of masters competitors. So while I'll still compete in the Open, my focus is actually more as a master.
Okay.
One, because I am one, and two, there's a lot of us.
Yeah. Okay.
So
What do you?
I certainly don't feel like I'm not competing with anybody. There's plenty.
What are your thoughts on? Because I see a lot of these Instagrammers and it seems to lean more towards the females that they're arching their backs like ridiculously.
You
I
mean
don't know
on
if
the
that's
bench?
on the bench. I'm sorry. Yes, on the bench.
I mean, in my opinion, so bench is a back and triceps exercise. You
Mm-hmm.
push off your back, you lock out your elbows. It's back and triceps. It's not a chest exercise.
Okay.
So I want more of my back on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't arch that high. You want to push your back into the bench so that it can't move, so that you have a sturdy base to press off of.
Okay. Yep.
If you only have your rear delts on the bench and the rest is up in the air, I don't see how that's a benefit. There are some organizations that aren't even I'm not even sure who it was, but recently they're not even allowing it anymore.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, I don't know I don't see a benefit to it. Other than I guess you want to bring your chest as high up as you can so that you don't have to bring the bars far down. But I don't think you're going to get enough torque out of the hole if you do that. So I think it's stupid.
Okay.
And I don't coach people to do that.
Okay. And Erica, so how is Ann having you train for the powerlifting? I mean, do you do like 5 of 5, or do you actually go down to like 2 rep maxes? I mean, educate the uneducated.
she does conjugate with me, and we've kind of
Okay.
done moved to a little bit more of a linear type of program for the meet prep. So, and I'd say one of the things that I think people have kind of looked at me sideways for in the gym is she's had me do a lot of reverse band stuff.
Okay.
And I don't know, I haven't talked to her specifically about what that does, but I do know it has helped me psychologically because there's no question I have the strength to move the weight. And she definitely identified that it's in my head. Like she's always said, you have the ability. So kind of adding some of that reverse band work in there for some heavy doubles and triples has been very beneficial for me.
Okay.
So we're with being 2 weeks out, I did heavy singles last week on squats and
After her reverse band work.
yeah.
So
After doing some,
do you know what she's saying when she says reverse band? Just so that I can explain what that is.
No, please do, because I was going to Google search when we get off, but please.
Okay, so what she does is we'll set up her squat bar in on the rack, and then we'll take bands from the top and wrap them around the bar.
Oh yeah, okay,
So
okay.
then when she steps out, the bands at the bottom help her up out of the hole.
Got
But
it.
by the time she's standing, all that weight is on her.
Okay, got
She's
it.
getting minimal, if any, help from the bands at that point.
Okay.
so
So
I feel what it feels like. I know
Right.
my brain knows what 405 pounds feels like on my shoulders, what 445 feels like.
So she just did a double reverse band. So she did a reverse band double. So she hit 245 for 2 reps with
Okay.
the reverse band. What that did, she just said it got her body used to holding that. We literally programmed her computer to do
Mm-hmm.
it.
Sweet.
Yeah. So ideally, I want her to take her top set with the reverse band. So what I would love to see is at the meet, that's her top number without
Okay.
the reverse band, obviously, at the meet. But then at the meet, you've got the crowd screaming, you've got the pressure, you've got the lights, you've got 3 judges in your face, So it's amazing how much stronger people are on the platform. And
Oh,
that's where
sure.
you want to leave it, right?
Yeah.
So
And
after so for this session in particular, she did a double with 445. Then she went without the reverse band and hit 405.
wow.
So that'll be her opening number. You get 3 different you get 3 attempts.
Okay.
The first one you want to make sure that it's something you can get, because if you don't get one of those 3 attempts, you're disqualified.
Sure.
So the first one you want it to be heavy enough that the jump's not too big, but that we know that she's going to get it.
Okay.
And then somewhere in between that for the second one. And then if the second one doesn't go well, we repeat it. Or if it does go well, then we say fuck it and we go heavy. Because you're going to have the spotters. You're going to have the best spotters in the world watching you, taking care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's right there. So that's the place to do it. Conjugate is it's an old technique from Russia, and what the word conjugate means is to put together.
Yep.
So that's how I can do 2 different disciplines at once.
Okay.
Where that changes is at the very end of the competition or bodybuilding prep, where we trim away any excess stuff, and we're just focusing, for bodybuilding, it's cardio and posing,
Mm-hmm.
and touch a weight at the end. For powerlifting, you're going to the gym, you're getting to that 1 rep max, and then you're going to leave. It might take you 3 hours to get there, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's longer breaks between each set, between each rep and stuff like that. You might be on a platform for 20 minutes waiting your turn. So that's how we do the training for Erica. As far as her Highland Games training, her Highland Games training is a combination of powerlifting and bodybuilding, and then we try to simulate the things that we need to in order to make her events better.
Sure. So, Erica, what are you hoping to pull off in a real world? What are you hoping to do with the competition? If all the stars align.
Well, so my last powerlifting meet, my squat was a 303, my bench was 209, and my deadlift was 399.
Okay.
I just squatted 405 in the gym the other day, so I think I'm easily gonna definitely add 100 pounds onto my squat, and I'm not sure how much above 405 will go, but
that's her first rep. She's gonna put more on than that.
And then
the Jedi Master has spoken.
And you know, I've learned, like,
I will be there.
I may think she's crazy.
You know she's crazy.
Yeah, when she first started, so we started my meet prep right after Christmas, and when she I think it was February 5th, she had programmed for me the 445 deadlift with reverse bands, and I was like, she has lost her damn mind. Like, she's lost her mind. There's no way. And sure enough, it moved. It was ugly, but it moved. And then a week and a half later, I had flown down to Florida to train with her one last time, like just to have her there with me while I was training. And we were deadlifting together because it was her last heavy deads, I think, for her before her meet. And so we're just going back and forth. You know, I'm pulling the same thing she's pulling. And we get 425, and I've done 405 in the gym. I was confident at that, but we get 425 on the bar and it moves fast. And I was like, huh, that was great. I can walk away happy. And then they put more weight on the bar, put 20 on, and I was like, oh, she's nuts. And 445 moved. And then I came back home and I did that for a double and with the reverse band. So I've learned to trust her is the moral of the story there. Like, she is a brilliant genius when it comes to programming. And so I've learned to trust her. So I don't know where we're going to go on deadlift, but I'm confident I can squat in the 4s, I can bench in the 2s, and I can pull well into the 4s. So
what was your biggest bench so far in training?
225.
Okay.
So, Ann, who trained you?
Me.
Okay.
Me in my one-car garage. Well, I trained for 6 shows in this garage, and now I work and I'm a member at a gym in Coral Springs, heavy intense training gym.
Yep.
But I still do all my own programming. When it comes down to the end of a meet prep, close friends of mine in Tampa, I honestly don't know what it is. And Erica's, I've had her meet the male counterpart. I don't know what he does, but he makes me strong. I go there to do 1 rep maxes, and I do more than I ever could any other time. So I do have people that I go to for, especially at the end, like, can you just take a look at me, sort of thing. But I've been doing my own programming since 2017.
Wow. Just reading YouTube, just kind of teaching yourself, as you said, or do you use those?
No. I mean, I've been training for 40 years.
Well, I know that, but okay.
And then conjugate, I actually did learn because the basics for conjugate it can be confusing for a lot of people. So I sought that education out because I wanted to use it for powerlifting prep. And the more I learned about it, I was like, this is absolutely ideal for bodybuilding. Because so what I do is I could take the max workout, right? which is 100% of your max. So your maximum effort, it would be a one rep max is 100%.
Okay.
So if I can bring it down to 75%, which is where hypertrophy happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of doing that heavy max work that I need to recover from, now I can add conditioning in. So and then take out more of the exercises, increase my cardio. I'm still doing conjugate.
Okay.
There's that's where we use a lot of accommodating resistance, so that's why we have bands. So the other way that we'll use bands instead of using them reverse, so that we pull the person out of the hole, you can put them on top of the bar to make it harder at the top.
Okay. Yep.
Well, and we'll do that for speed.
Okay.
Because you can't press against a bar slow.
And
Are you a chains person at all? What do you subscribe to chains?
We use chains and bands.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much that's it. Yeah.
Why are you laughing, Erica?
Because the torture I've endured. I told her when I was down there training after I pulled the 445, I was like, she made me do a lot of good mornings, different variations of good mornings with bands, with chains, pins, seated, and I was sick of them, and I hated them. They're hard and they hurt, and I was like, but the squat and deadlift, like, you can't argue with it.
No.
Like, you can't argue with what happened. 100 pounds on my squat, like, you can't.
And how much on your deadlift then? So at least 50?
Yeah, 50. Well, when I started working with you, I was only able to pull like 375 or so. So
wow. Erica, do you want to step on the Arnold stage? I mean, you want to do something at the Arnold, or like, what's the big picture?
Well, funny you should ask. So I was hoping to compete at the Arnold this year for the Highland Games, and they opted to not have a Masters women's division.
Okay.
They have every other division, but no Masters women. So I could have done open, but at the same time, I'm like, there's a category for us. Like, why they allowed Masters men to compete?
They let men's bodybuilding compete.
So I'm not.
Here's this to the Arnold, okay?
Yeah, I'm not going to support an event that isn't equitable,
doesn't support us.
Doesn't support women.
We support the people that support us.
Yep.
So if the Arnold doesn't like women, we won't go.
Yeah. So is there something just as big, Erica, as let's say, take the Arnold out of the picture? Is there something just as big or right at that magnitude that you could really sink your teeth into?
There's a Masters World competition for the Highland Games, and so that's I've got my sights kind of on that for possibly.
Okay.
She did a really big one last year in Dublin, Ohio. And that was huge.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. I was just telling him about the one in Dublin.
Yeah. So the Masters World is my goal. So it's the world competition for Masters. You have to qualify and like that. So I've done an invitational. So there's a few big invitationals that are, you get more competition. So hopefully I'll do one or two more of those this year.
And aside from you mentioned the ligament being removed, any other injuries, anything else? I mean, how are you feeling all in all?
So I have a torn labrum in my right shoulder.
Geez.
That's been an injury since I was a kid. And it just is, I was able to build enough muscle around it that it stabilized, but that's always in the background. I'm dealing with like some collarbone weirdness right now. I just went to a chiropractor this morning and got scraping, so I'm all bruised up. But other than that, I'm feeling great. My knee is not bothering me. That's one thing Ann and I have really talked about, is like part of the reason I made the switch to classic raw is I think I'd reached my limit without anything on my knees, and the wraps actually make my knee feel better. Like
Okay.
I can't even tell I squatted afterwards. Like my knee just feels great. So that compression has been really good. But yeah, other than that, I'm feeling great. I'm spending 3 hours in the gym when I do train because it's like she said, it takes a long time. But the gym is my happy place, so I don't mind that at all.
And obviously you're doing the massage therapy and you said scraping and all the other good stuff. So,
Yep,
keeping
making
yourself.
sure I'm eating and sleeping, and
Do either of you subscribe to cupping?
yeah, I've done it.
Okay.
The tempering, the body tempering just works so well.
I try to tell people when you do things like cupping and Graston, even massage, you're only working on the surface that you're touching. When
Yep.
you do body tempering, both sides are getting done because
Yeah.
whatever is on the ground or the mat that you're working on has to strengthen in order to keep you from getting crushed.
True. Okay.
So it is wildly more effective in a fraction of the time. It's life changing. That I couldn't still do what I couldn't pose if I didn't get it done. I couldn't still compete. I couldn't still train. I'm inundated. So actually, one of the things that Vinny brought up in the last time we talked was there's two different masters athletes right now, and there are a lot. There are people like me and Vinny who just won't freaking go away. And then there is the masters athlete that is like, you know what? It's my time. Like
Yep.
Erica. She's set in her career. She's got her shit together.
Mm-hmm.
It's her time.
Yeah.
She's
For
single.
me,
Like it's very ideal. You know what I mean? It's a great way to invest in yourself.
and I know a lot of women like myself, we never had children. And so, and not married. And so you find yourself in your 40s and you've committed heavily to your career. And that's part of the reason you don't have children. And so you don't have anything pulling you away from work. And the gym pulls me away from work. It gives me a hard stop because before I was seriously training, even when I wasn't in meet prep, I'd find myself at the office until 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at night, and then I'd be taking my laptop home and I'd be working more.
Sure.
Because I didn't have a husband or children to say, hey, pay attention to me. I need dinner. I need whatever. And so all I was doing was just working. And it has forced me to have more balance. It has given me something else to do other than work and just made me examine how I'm living and how much I'm giving to a job that may or may not care a whole lot about me. Like it's for me.
On your Instagram, you have PhD. What is that in?
It's in education.
So are you a teacher or professor by day, or?
Yeah, I was. I'm at the Illinois State Board of Education now.
Okay.
I'm in charge of standards and instruction for the state. So I'm over like math, science, ELA, social studies, all that fun stuff, even driver education. And I have a team that I work with. But my PhD was, I was learning how to teach people how to be teachers, but I did research on, so kind of how I ended up in this world is I did research on stress and high stress professions, which teaching is one of those. So I actually put heart rate monitors on people that they wore 24/7 and looked at how their lifestyle choices were impacting their sleep and recovery. So it actually like just blended really nicely with doing strength sports because it really informed my practice there as well.
So are you almost like a superhero? Do people know what you do outside of the office, or do you kind of keep it separate? And when people hear it, it's like, get out of here, no way. Or maybe she's keeping superhero from us.
Did you hear that question?
No, I didn't. What was it?
Oh, so are you like a superhero where do you keep, your athletics outside the office, or do people know, or do the people like surprised when they hear, oh my God, come on now?
So there's a few people that know. For the most part, I keep it separate, but
Okay.
there's been a few people that when they find out, they're just so they think it's fascinating. And there was a group of like management that decided that I could kick anybody's ass at work. That
Well, now
like
they know they
they
can
were
verify it.
they were betting on me if the shit hits the fan. Like they are betting on me. So that's funny. There is one guy that I work with that does go to my gym. He's an older guy that used to compete, but yeah, they've decided I'm the strongest person at the Illinois State Board of Education.
Yay.
So when you're at the gym, do you have a training partner that can actually keep up with you? I don't know if you work with a male or if there's a female or if you're a solo person.
Yeah, so I have I used to train entirely by myself. I had a huge garage gym, so that was when I first started working with Ann. And
Okay.
then I got divorced, sold my house, moved. So now I just had a one car garage, and it's tiny and it's hot and cold. So I joined a local powerlifting gym because there was a powerlifting gym that had a monolith and everything. Through joining that gym, I found a group of training partners. And so it's kind of the evening crew. And so
Okay.
with my work schedule and training, I'm a little bit all over the place, but there is a core group that I train with. And Ashley, she's a lot smaller than me, but she's got over 1,000-pound total. I
Wow.
got to be there when Craig got his 2,000-pound total. So we've got some strong people in the gym. And there's a couple of strong women, which is pretty nice to be around.
Do you have goals that you want to be at, or is it really just if I can increase X amount of weight every meet, every week, or is there an end number that you want to be at?
So like thinking about goals and stuff like that has always been really important to me, but the key for me has always been just being better than I was yesterday.
Sure.
And I find that, so for me personally, I find if I set some arbitrary goal, I can set it too high, and then you just are beating yourself up when you never meet it. And
Mm-hmm.
so my goal is to be better than I was yesterday, whether that's to bring more intensity to my training. And that's one thing Ann always talks about is how purposefully and in the level of intensity I bring to my training, even when I'm not in meet prep, I'm there for a reason, and I'm doing that lift for a reason.
She's
And the same
always
with
Erica's very on. When she's on, she goes on. She's on. She's not walking into the gym dragging her bag. Wish she wasn't there.
Looking at
That's
Instagram.
honestly, if she was, I wouldn't even want to work with her. So, so I don't have the patience for that.
yeah, and
That is not her at all. She is on.
no,
She's there.
I was raised in a German farm family, and it's like you don't do anything half-assed. Like that is literally the worst thing you can do. You bring your best because that your effort speaks to your character. And so
Mm-hmm.
I always try I give it my all. Like there is never, and I also have had to learn as I've gotten older, sometimes my all is not as much as I want it to be, or it's not as much as it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, can I say I put my full effort? Yeah. Because sometimes you're not feeling well, you're stressed out, you're sick, you're exhausted, your brain's just not there. But putting your best effort forward, no matter what state you're in, just bringing your best that day is important.
And knowing that she's that way on days where it's not there, I'm just go home.
Yeah.
Go home. I don't even question it. Just go. Get out. Don't do it. I don't want you to hate it.
Yep.
I don't want that either. If you're going in constantly tired or sick or anything like that, eventually you're going to get burned out and you're going to get injured. We go to the gym to break things down.
And
Everything else afterwards is for recovery. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to rest, maybe even some other modalities, just like tempering, something like that. So, I program as much as I think she can handle, because I certainly don't want to waste any time, and I don't want to waste any recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes if it's too much and it's just, or for that week, because the sun, moon, and stars didn't align just right for whatever reason, get out, stop, just go home.
And we did, I think, so during the summer when I'm in throwing season, like Ann and I learned a lot about me this last summer because I was more serious about my throwing. I wasn't just going out to get experience. I was like going out to compete. I sunburn very easily.
Going out to beat bitches.
I'm mostly Scottish and Irish. I sunburn easily. I sunburned through long sleeves and leggings when I was visiting Anne in February.
She did.
So
she did.
The sun destroys me and I sweat a lot. So my electrolytes get completely out of whack and my gym is not air conditioned. So I'm throwing on the field in the sun when it's over 100 degrees and then the gym. Mm-hmm. And so we really scaled back my training in the summer. And I was worried. I was really worried about what I was going to be losing. And then I came back and we tested my maxes in like October and it was like, I got stronger. I was like, how does this even work? But we took care of my recovery. We took care of, being smart and really being as efficient and as effective as we could with my training, with respect for my competition as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so many. There was a lot, 5 is a lot.
Yeah.
So, the week of, she can't really do a whole lot because I don't want her to have to recover from it.
Yeah.
So then we got to push, back off, push, back off. It's a lot of ebb and flow.
And if someone wants to get into powerlifting or as a powerlifter that wants to better themselves, is there anybody you recommend, whether it's, like avenues that they should research on YouTube? Certain people, maybe you suggest that, look, if you're going to follow somebody, whether it's a Charles Poliquins or whoever it is of the world, aside from yourself, obviously.
Nate Harvey.
Okay.
Would be one. He wrote the book Conjugate You. So he took conjugate and he put it into simple terms to understand. So I would definitely follow him. I belong to a group, we call it the Conjugate Church. There's Khalil Sherrod. These are the people that I follow, who are brilliant and who I just, like a sponge, absorb information from, are probably people that you've never heard of.
Okay.
A lot of the big names and stuff like that, I check them out. I'm just not impressed.
Yep. Okay.
So I think it's a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And I think, I know that one of the problems is, at least for me, I found that people don't want to take instruction from a woman.
Okay.
So I think that I run into that, and not just by men, other women too. So, but as far as females go, Laura Phelps is definitely somebody that I would follow. But then again, somebody that you probably wouldn't know. I would follow people that know conjugate.
Okay.
For real and well.
Got it. Okay. Ladies, it's been a great conversation. What else have we missed here? I mean, we've been all around and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I think, just, I think one of the things that Erica and I really wanted to drive home was about being a masters competitor and how great it is. And, I think I said in the last podcast, I'm in that generation where my parents ignored me and now my kids do. So I might as well invest in me.
Yep.
And I think that there's a lot of other women out there that'd be a lot happier too. And even if they are married, it doesn't mean that you can't still invest in yourself.
Exactly. My thing is too, why does age have to dictate what you can and can't do?
And not anymore.
No, I know.
I mean, our generation's kicking ass.
And it's funny being connected to Vinny. He's like opened my eyes to so many people on Instagram, like how many 50, 60, 70 with their pro cards are still competing, still in
Yeah.
the gym actively, still kicking, even just moving,
Yes.
which is the most important.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
it's for women, the benefits of strength training, it's so important for our bodies and our bones and being able to live longer, healthier lives.
And your posture, like, don't, just, I mean, you see people, their faces, they're walking straight up, but their necks are literally, their eyes are looking down
Yep.
from osteoporosis. And I mean, I still jump, I'm 5'2", I still got to jump up on my kitchen counters. So I got to stay in shape.
And,
But
and
I can.
yeah.
I like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and we had Rudy Cadleb on a couple of weeks ago, 74, and he's still kicking ass and taking names.
yeah. And I plan to. I mean, that's the other thing I love about powerlifting and Highland Games too. You can go on, well, especially powerlifting. I mean, they have it's divided by age.
Okay.
They have like 70 and up. Like there is a place for us.
Yep.
Crazy. And it's funny because I actually left early from the meet it was the next day, and I left before awards were out. I got an award last week, and I don't even know what it was for. Because I wasn't competing against anybody else besides myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even think about it.
Okay.
So I mean, and it can be just that too. Like it's just you versus you.
Yep. So, ladies, as we wind down, I'm going to ask you some weird questions just to have the listeners get to know you a little bit more. So I'll kind of go back and forth. Just a couple of quick ones. So, Erica, go back 75 years or go ahead 75 years if you could.
Would I go back or ahead?
Yeah, I'll ask Erica. Would you want to time travel forward 75 years or time travel back 75 years?
Ooh. I mean, 75 years ago wasn't so great for women.
Okay.
So, I think I'd shoot forward.
Okay. And meal with anybody, dead or alive.
For me to have a meal with?
Yeah.
My father.
Okay. Very nice. Erica, what's the last song you sang out loud to?
Anne got me on this stupid Young Gravy song.
I was gonna say, I think I know. I think we sang it together.
Oh. Young Gravy, yep.
It was Young Gravy, yep. Yeah, it's true. Have you heard this kid?
No.
Oh, he's hysterical. So there's actually a genre called comedy rap.
Okay.
And this kid is what? He's 6'5", tall, skinny, blonde hair, blue-eyed, but funny. And when Erica came, I was like, I want you to check out this song. And she was like singing it right away. Like,
is it like goofy, like what the fox says? Remember that's what the fox say? Like that kind of goofy kind of.
No, not that bad. No, he's talking.
No, actually, he likes older women.
Yeah, he loves older women. So we were like, hell yeah. He loves cougars. He sings about cougars. Like, what's one of his lines?
Curvy women.
If she can fasten her seatbelt on the first try, then she's not my type. I like a girl. I want her to have an ass so fat it's hard to live.
Wow. Okay, now I got to Google this afterwards. I got to YouTube this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, I think he's brilliant.
It'll get stuck in your head.
He was a comedian before he started rapping. And his mom is like a psychiatrist or something. Yeah,
that's probably why he's off the reservation.
I guess he's very funny though. Yeah, so that's what we were singing that, and then we like there's a song that Erica and I both like to listen to before we train. What is the name of that song? Is the name of it the same as the words? It's a Celtic song, right? You would call it Celtic?
Yeah, Savage Daughter. Yeah.
Savage Daughter, that's the name of it.
Okay.
So look that one up too. I think all girls should look that one up before they live.
Okay.
Because
Well,
that's what we
perfect.
are. We're all a little savage.
Well, ladies, where can people learn about you? Plug any Instagram, social medias, anything whatsoever. How can they contact you? And maybe if they want to utilize your services. And obviously, Erica.
I'm IFBB Pro and Sheehan on Instagram. That's pretty much the only social media. I mean, I'm on TikTok too,
Okay.
under the same name.
Are you taking clients in, or are you kind of booked?
I am. I really am enjoying working with masters.
Okay.
And multi-sport, and I really want to kind of lean into that more. So I'm especially open to taking more clients that are in that that description, whether it's body, whatever sport.
Will you take people from ground zero, or do you want people that have that foundation to kind of build on? What's your sweet spot?
That's a great question, actually. So if they're in person, I actually like ground zero.
Okay. No bad habits.
Right. If it's online, they're not going to get it unless if they're already pretty seasoned.
Okay.
So yeah, if it would somebody that a competitor would for online, and a lot of the competitors I work with online, I've been with for years.
Nice.
So I don't really get a whole lot of new online clients.
Okay.
But
well, that's a great testament, though, if you've got the same clients for years.
She's amazing.
Thanks.
And Erica, where can people learn about you?
I'm on Instagram. That's probably the best. ET Rex, like T-Rex the dinosaur, lifts. And then I'm also on, I do my Highland Games stuff on TikTok, and I'm ET Throws.
Awesome. And again, I feel like we're cheating on Vinny today, but he said, no, have fun with the ladies. Have fun.
I know. Well, maybe we'll hang out with him next time too. He's very fun too. I love Vinny. I'm so proud of him. And if they don't let him do the Olympia, the Masters Olympia, I will. I don't even know what.
We revolt.
I will. I will be just so disgusted. I will. I'll be beyond disappointed, because if anybody deserves to do it, it's definitely him. You know, they really made him wait way too long for his pro card.
Agreed.
But this man has dedicated his entire life and is still bringing it.
Yes.
Let him do the fucking show.
I know, and I think he's screaming the show the loudest. I mean, I know other people that have put their name in the hat, but I think he's yelling the loudest that he wants to.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just that. They have to lower the age to get people to do it. And then you got people like this that are like, he's I'm sure every single time he goes to the gym, every time he picks up his fork to eat, he's thinking about that stage.
I know.
You know what I mean? So he's going to be the best prepared for it too.
And we always throw out that adage of, it's like fine wine, but Vinny really is like getting better. It's not just a nicety. He really is living that motto.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah. I'm really proud of him.
You know that. But ladies, it's truly been a pleasure. As I say, the podcast door is always open. Erica, once, good luck to your upcoming meets.
Thank you.
Let us know whether you want to come on and share or send pictures. I'm sure we'll see them. And for me, folks, I'm SuppTalk_radio. And this Wednesday on Masters Muscle, we have Johnny Jackson. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.